Mr. Kakakhel, what has been Pakistan's achievement on the issues related to climate change and what is that has yet to be done?
Well, before
I need very critical and concise and precise answer.
Pakistan is one of the countries that will be most seriously impacted by the adverse effects of climate change, particularly our water security, our food security, and the pressures on our disaster management capacity, as well as the adverse health impacts of rising temperature. There will also be displacements as a result of the water-related phenomena of floods or droughts, as well as the strong windstorms and rising level of sea, which could turn fertile land into wasteland.
And an average Pakistani knows that nothing has been done on this issue.
Pakistan has lately begun to take some actions. A task force was established under the Planning Commission, which has compiled its report, and now another report has been prepared with support from the United Nations. It's a framework document which talks about the national climate change policy. But I think given the seriousness of the situation, given that we have already seen the impacts of climate change, including the floods, which, as Malik Amin Aslam said in the interview with you, the cost is at least 10 billion, and of course the social and psychological impacts, the ecological impacts are likely to be much more serious than that. We now need to transit towards specific plans with timelines, with financial details, with institutional setups, with evaluation process, with accountability to the democratic processes like the parliamentary committees. We are very far from that. And I think the main reason is that we really do not have the requisite competence, the technical competence, the political will, and the ability to organize ourselves before the full and disastrous impacts of climate change visit our impoverished economy and our vulnerable economic and social sectors. So we need to gear up we need to now organize ourselves. We need to seek expertise from friendly governments which will be very willing. China will be willing to support, the United States will be willing to support, the European Union will be willing to support. We should also look at what the other developing countries have done and prepare ourselves on an emergency scale. We are dealing with an emergency. It cannot be handled in a business as usual, in a casual manner. Otherwise, we are headed for multi-dimensional disasters.
My last question, sir. You attended Copenhagen. You also attended Cancun. What was the difference in terms of preparation that you realized this time? I believe there was a lot of people are saying that this time the performance was much better. There was reading material. What kind of reading material it was? Did you go through that?
We went to Cancun, the members of the Pakistani delegation who were qualitatively superior to the delegation that went to Copenhagen. We went in a much more prepared manner. We had briefs that Lead Pakistan had sponsored and got prepared from the best available experts in this country on all the topics that were under negotiation. So no member of the Pakistan delegation could say, well, I don't know what I have to say. I don't know what I have to push for. And we were equipped with well-prepared, well-articulated briefs, and we were ready. Of course, there were problems of coordination, problem of apportioning and responsibilities, of assigning responsibilities, and of course, towards the end, the speed of the negotiations became absolutely breakneck, and it was impossible even for larger and better organized delegations to keep pace with the number of documents that were virtually flying about in that beautiful island resort of Mexico. I think we need to look at the lessons, how to maximize on the positive outcomes, and how to mitigate and how to avoid some of the mistakes that all members of the delegations are deeply aware, so as to because a lot of issues have been left to be finalized in Durban. We cannot afford.
So, what is the solution in your opinion? There was a meeting day before yesterday, a post Cancun meeting. What were your suggestions in the meeting?
Well,
Very
we
briefly.
considered the possibility of preparing the comments for the government of Pakistan on, for instance, the adaptation committee, on the what kind of activities should be supported by the Green Fund, how should Pakistan work in the transitional committee, then the question of being prepared before it's too late for possible support for under the so-called RED Plus, that is the reduced emissions from degradation and deforestation, so that we are better prepared. And of course, there will be several sessions of both the working ad hoc working groups. Of course, for Pakistan, the more important forum is the ad hoc working group on long-term cooperative action. We must attend all the meetings of these negotiations well prepared, and we should know exactly what to ask for. Of course, we have to work within the framework of the G77, which is the essential negotiating partner in the global negotiation.
Thank you very much, sir.